Hello everyone, welcome back to Madridista channel. And yesterday was a really eventful day in the World Cup. One of the hot favorites for the World Cup, Brazil, were knocked out by Croatia in the quarterfinal clash. There was nothing to separate the two in the initial 90 minutes, and the game was after 90 minutes. The score was a nil-nil, and the kind of game it was, Brazil couldn't really impose themselves on Croatia throughout the whole 90 minutes. The kind of tactics Croatians went for are defensive solidity, structure, the kind of where they didn't give even an inch of space to the Brazilian attackers. So Brazil were attacking, had four attacking players in really talented players in Neymar, Vinicius, Richarlison, and Rafinha, but none of them could to get any kind of sniffs towards the goal, and so Livakovic didn't have much to work on in the 90 minutes. Around 55th minute mark, Rafinha was replaced by Anthony. Initially, he enjoyed some kind of space and some freedom, but nothing in the final third. Vinicius was replaced by Rodrigo around the 65th minute mark, where he couldn't impact anything on the match. Vinicius was doing even whatever little he was doing better than what Rodrigo did after coming on. His impact was close to zero. And the most weird one was bringing on the striker for Richarlison. That was the most weird one where I don't know why that. Um, let's check the lineups. Okay. Richarlison was taken off for Pedro, and Pedro plays for Flamengo, Brazilian Serie A, where he has scored 11 goals and 3 assists in 24 matches. So he is not someone who is super clinical or for some where he comes from a really top league where he really lit it up. So he was relied on by Tite here for some reason. We couldn't really see what reason that was because he showed nothing during the time or after he came on around the 85th minute mark. Um, Tite's substitutions, most of them didn't work out really. I would give the most of the blame for Brazil to not being able to finish the match in 120 minutes and going to extra time. I would give to Tite because his substitutions Rodrigo, after he was brought on around the 85th minute mark, I understand you needed, if you wanted to change Richarlison, just move Rodrigo to the middle because Real Madrid have been using Rodrigo as the number nine, where he drops in, goes up, and we see how devastating he was against Manchester City last season's Champions League semi-final, where he popped up with two goals from the middle, and you bring in a menace like Martinelli down the left wing, where Rodrigo was getting nothing. Nothing. Rodrigo was making no impact on the game from the left wing. You bring on a menace like Martinelli, who runs down that wing, takes on players. He has so much pace and he can get behind the defense if Brazil scores a goal. That they did around the 105th minute mark. You can use Martinelli for the counter attacks too, but Tite didn't bring him. And the most baffling thing was around the 105th minute mark after when did Fred came on? Fred came on, yeah. After the 105th minute mark, when Neymar, individual brilliance from Neymar, what a goal with the pass from Paqueta too. But that goal was made 90% by Neymar. He showed his individual brilliance, his quality. He was the guy to uh, take this Brazil team to the semifinals. He tried his best, but the dumb substitution here, I would say dumb substitution here by Tite, and not organizing his team for the last 15 minutes, how it should have been organized was the catalyst for this defeat, for this disaster, I would say. How can you bring on Fred? He is having horrendous form in Manchester United. He is not a player that you should be using normally for Brazil team. There are other really talented players in Bruno Guimaraes. There is Fabinho, even though Fabinho isn't having a great form, a vein of form for Liverpool, but he is still a central defensive midfielder. Casemiro is already on a yellow, so if there is sudden counter attack or something, if even in such a sudden situation where you cannot control it, something happens, something unexpected happened. Casemiro cannot just grab someone and pull them down, or else he gets a second yellow and the red. But you have Fabinho, and you can bring on Bruno Guimaraes. You can beef up your midfield. You don't need four forwards to play the last 15 minutes of the match. Why would you need Rodrigo? Pedro, Anthony, and Neymar on the field. Why? I would understand if the score was still nil-nil and you needed the goal and you were thinking, if I am not going to take on forward, they will score the penalties for me. Okay, I would understand that if that was the thought behind your decision, but you already scored. You can just beef up the midfield, get two defensive midfielders in Fabinho and Casemiro, and Bruno Guimaraes has been playing magnificent football for Newcastle. He is such a talented player, and you bring on a donkey like Fred, who just runs around like a headless chicken without impacting the football on the pitch for nothing. He did nothing. He was nowhere to be seen. He was just a guy. He was just a log on the pitch there. He was that much useful for Brazil in this match. And so the rest of the problem was bringing on Sandro for Militao. Militao was one of the better defenders on the match. He was doing so well on the right hand side. He was totally looking on the right hand side. You didn't need to bring Militao off. Why would you bring Militao off when you already scored the goal? When was Militao? Okay, let's see. Sandro, yeah, you took Militao off around the same time as um, um, uh, Paqueta. You brought on Alexandro. You took off your reliable defender who can take care of the set pieces, which you would need in the last 15 minutes if you were thinking of just defending your lines and not giving up an inch of space. You could have just taken off the worst defending player in Danilo and just bringing on Sandro, bringing on both, keeping both Danilo and Sandro the weakest point of this Brazilian team, along with Fred. You totally handicapped yourself, Mr. Tite, and you just destroyed the structure of the team with them. Have you not seen how Juventus plays with these two dumbasses on the both wing backs, as a right back and left back? You can just ask the Juventus fans how they rate these two fullbacks in their team. It's a disaster. He just handicapped himself by playing these two together for the last 15 minutes, and friend, it was a triple handicap. And when you have just even after that, when you have just 5 minutes left of the match, you have to do some just I don't understand why they went over the line of Brazilian line and went towards the Croatian line. There was no need for that. Sandro, Danilo, Marquinhos, Thiago Silva, Casemiro, Fred, and at least these six players should have been on this side of the defensive side. They shouldn't have left the halfway mark. Why would you let Croatia get that kind of chance to counter on you when you don't need the second goal? If you there are four attacking players you kept for the last 15 minutes, you should have given the order for these six players not to leave the halfway mark, even if he gave the order and the players just in the moment they just forgot that order, that instruction, and just ventured into the Croatian half. Then these players should not be called into the Brazilian national team again. They just made a crucial mistake in leaving the defense exposed. Casemiro jogging back, Danilo running back, Sandro running back, and Brazilian defense in disarray. Croatia gets the equalizer. I didn't expect that from Casemiro. I thought expected him to be in place. I'm just so annoyed. This Manchester United midfield of Casemiro and Fred, I don't know if it's rubbing off on Casemiro going to that Europa League club that he forgot how to do the game management. Why would he go over the halfway line and get caught on the counter like this? I just really don't understand. It was a disaster to get the equalizer because Croatia, I am just ranting on Brazil because I am a Brazil fan. But Croatia managed the game perfectly. They just suffocated the whole Brazilian attack and midfield. There was no space for them to maneuver. They executed their game plan perfectly. If only Croatia had a striker even like Richarlison, this Croatian team would have every chance to win this World Cup after what they have shown against Brazil. Their only weakness is not having a capable striker or forward line, and the depth is not as quality depth. I don't know how they will fare against Argentina in the semifinal, but hats off to Croatia. They deserve the respect. They deserve their flowers. So they just played this match how it should be played. They did everything right to win this match against Brazil. Brazilian coach Tite and some of the defenders and midfielders made the fatal mistakes, and they were horrendous. That's not Croatia's problem. Croatia executed their plan perfectly. They had the perfect remedy for the Brazilian nullify the Brazilian attack, and they did it magnificently. Modric, Kovacic, Brozovic were absolutely brilliant. Even Zuranovic on this side, Sosa on the other side, Lovren, Gvardiol, magnificent. Livakovic, of course, again, Superman in penalty shootouts, and there was again Perisic. Pasalic and Kramaric, the whole team worked together perfectly. They deserve all their credit. They did whatever needed to be done to win this match, and they did it perfectly. They executed it perfectly. There is nothing much more that can be said. I would say I'm disappointed at Alisson. Liverpool fans always hype him to the moon, always making him he's the best goalkeeper in the world. The guy cannot save a penalty to save his life. Really, I don't know. If you are the best goalkeeper in the world, you should have the ability to somehow just do something in penalty shootouts when your team needs you. Because I expected at least something from him. There was nothing. You could see how Livakovic, like he looked like a giant in that penalty box, but Alisson looked like an average goalkeeper. I didn't see anything extraordinary from Alisson throughout the tournament, and even if Brazil had Courtois, I think he would have at least saved one of the other penalties. especially the one that went through the middle, the second penalty. I think he should have saved that one. That wasn't struck well. That was through the middle and low. I think he should have saved the penalty. Uh, Marquinhos, Thiago Silva, nothing much really. They didn't have much to do anyway throughout the whole match. Marquinhos missed the penalty. So I have nothing much to say about them. Danilo, Sandro, Militao, I would say did his job well. Danilo did his job all right in defense until Sandro and Danilo, the double jeopardy came on around the 106 minutes. I have really no words for them. And then there is Casemiro Paqueta. Casemiro got pressed and he got forced turnovers multiple times. The Casemiro, the Croatian midfield, especially Modric, didn't let him breathe when he had the ball at his feet. So he was nullified in possession well, and he didn't have much to do when he was called upon in the 115 minutes. He didn't do anything. He was jogging, running back. So disappointing from Casemiro. Paqueta with the assist to Neymar, and he was all right, I would say. Neymar, the best player for Brazilian team. Vinicius tried his best, but didn't have much of an impact. Same for Rafinha, one of the worst players on the pitch. Richarlison tried, but there wasn't much space to breathe anything inside that Croatian defense. Croatia were just drilled. That their defense was so drilled. Richarlison didn't get even one clear-cut chances. The whole Brazilian team didn't get one clear-cut chances. Rodrigo, nothing really, nothing much to say. Didn't do anything. Pedro, I don't know why he was brought on. Anonymous. Anthony did all right. Fred, worst player on the pitch again. Sandro, yeah. On the Croatian side, Livakovic, one of the best goalkeepers in the World Cup, alongside Bono. And then there is Govardiol, Lovren, good partnership. They did their job well. Suso, and I didn't expect such a good performance for Juranovic. He kept Vinicius totally quiet. On the other side, Sosa kept Rafinha and Anthony. He dealt with them really well. Modric, Kovacic, Brozovic totally nullifying Brazilian attack as well as the midfield. They um, suffocated the spaces so well. It was magnificent. And Kramaric, Perisic, Pasalic, good. They played really well. They did their jobs well. They didn't have enough attacking impetus, but that was their game plan. Whatever they could scavenge, they would scavenge, and they got their opportunity. And they did their job. At least didn't really sabotage the team. So hats off to Croatia. They are the well-deserved team to go to the semi-final. Good luck to them. I hope and pray they beat this Argentine team and goes to the World Cup final. Uh, and I wish them the best of luck. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, kindly like, subscribe, and comment. See you. I'm gonna do the Portugal versus Morocco watch along now. See you soon.